All right, so we're going to be taking a look at the armed fisherman or the soul yakkers video here. He did a deposition. Did a pretty good job at doing it here as well, but I want to call out some stuff that I noticed. Well, in Florida, you can open carry and fish, and it's perfectly legal and lawful. And that's what he's doing here in the city of Bal Harbor. And that's where Officer Kunkus is going to come and intercept him. It's typical. They bring like 3 officers out, typical response, but you can see that they're clearly not feeling that he is any type of a threat towards law enforcement here. Now, Officer Kunkus is worried more about people getting excited than what the law is. He's a seasoned officer.
While I'm engaged in fishing, hunting, and camping, I'm allowed to do that. Look up.
Don't you think you're going to get people really excited about
I'm not worried about what...
weapons around?
Hey, look, this is my constitutional right. You swore an oath to uphold this right.
That's fine.
Okay.
All right, that's the intro. This is the deposition, the demeanor of the officer. Let's jump into this.
Right.
Now, first things first, what I want to alert you guys to before we jump into this deposition is that Officer Kunkus is on duty. He's not exclusively given his time to the armed fisherman here to do this deposition. Now, I don't know if Officer Kunkus is not taking this deposition seriously. In my opinion, I would have told him to shut the radio off as a distraction to you. And if he says he's on duty, then he would obligate himself to do this deposition and make time to do it without any distractions.
All right. Officer Kunkus, how long have you been an officer of Bal Harbor?
Since May of 2011.
Have you worked at any other police department in the state of Florida?
Miami Beach Police Department.
And for how long?
May of 1994 until October 2010.
Do you know what 901.151 of the Florida statutes is?
Since he's going to stumble around on it, I'll tell you what it is here. 901.151 is the Florida statute which mirrors the Terry v. Ohio case, or also the Florida stop and frisk law. It ultimately spells out that you can only be detained or stopped if a police officer reasonably suspects that you are committing a crime, have committed a crime, or about to commit a crime. It's what gives the officers the permission to stop you and detain you and ascertain your ID.
Yeah, in regards to stopping people and frisking them, detaining them.
Do you know fishing regulations in the state of Florida?
A few of them.
What are those regulations you know?
Size of snooks, lobster season.
Okay. What are the regulations for snook?
The snook has to be between 14 and 29 inches or some approximate size like that. I'd have to refer to the book.
If I was to tell you it was 28 inch, or on the east coast of Florida, it's 28 to 32 inches. And on the west coast, it's 28 to 33 inches. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I would say that sounds reasonable.
Well, that's 100% true.
All right. Well, I've never fined anybody for any violation for it.
But my curiosity with this is what legal, if you don't know, like, as you just said, you don't know the law, how can you enforce something that you don't know?
Check the form. You can answer.
You can answer.
By a careful review of the statute before taking any action.
Do you know what the Fourth Amendment is?
Yes.
What is it?
Due process.
If I was to tell you that is not correct, and I was to tell you it's unreasonable searches and seizures, allowing myself to be in possession of my personal property, effects, things of that nature, if I told you that, would you believe me?
All right.
Is that a yes or is that a no?
That's an I don't know.
Okay.
Mr. Taylor, if you had just showed us some identification, this all could have been avoided. But you refused to show identification, saying that since your activity was lawful, which it was, technically, sort of, your intention was at least. If you just showed some identification, then that wouldn't. We didn't arrest you for trespassing. We arrested you for resisting an officer without violence.
And open carry.
Yes,
Do
because
you know what happened? Do you know what happened to those charges?
they were dropped.
Well, that's going to be part of the deposition. I'll put a link in the description down below so you can see the full 50-minute deposition that the armed fisherman did with Officer Kunkus. I'm just surprised that he doesn't know what the Fourth Amendment is. That makes no sense.